Shabbat Shalom. We often wonder how certain Jewish customs/laws come about. Some are easy to see. Others are a little bit more convoluted. Sometimes we see a very specific example of how something is supposed to be done, and yet we're left to guess as the reasoning. In this week's Torah portion, Chukad, after Aaron dies, the text tells us that they mourned for him for 30 days. All the commentators pick up on the fact that the reason they mourned for Aaron for 30 days was because he was so well loved within the community. The reasoning is that Aaron was such a wonderful presence that they had to stop and mourn for him for 30 days. But why 30? Why that specific amount of time? The answer is, we don't know. What we do know is that subsequently our community has now taken upon itself that very same custom. That when somebody passes, you have the immediate Shiva period, but that first 30 days, the Shloshim, is a more intense mourning period than the rest of the mourning period that you go through. I can only imagine that that 30 days was designated as a significant amount of time. Time enough, if you will, to understand and appreciate the importance of every human life. It is, to be sure, a protection for both the living and the dead. For the living, it gives them a little bit of a space to gently enter back into the community following a loss. And for the dead, it forces each of us still living to understand their importance, their legacy, and again, the sacredness of all life. We assume that the value of the sacredness of every life is something that would be with us forever. How could we possibly lose sight of this very inherent and important value? Well, we have. Our country, around the world, whether it's through people perverting religion or just simply people gone a little bit mad. The sacredness of life has been lost upon us. And that is the most egregious possible value that we could lose. There's no worse thing than losing the sacredness of life. And so we are left to wonder where it went wrong, but I think most importantly, we are left to try and change the future, to try and turn the tide, to try and scream out to anybody who will listen that ultimately the sacredness of life, every single human being, that is our most basic value. And without that, we can't possibly achieve or accomplish anything as a society. Shabbat Shalom.